Hello guys, Romero17 here, and I'm going to help you deal with spam, whether it be knee spam, sidekick spam, spinning elbow spam, all that stuff. I'm going to give you guys a few tips to help you deal with that. First thing up is going to be knee spam. I know this is like a now, for some reason this has come back since season 1 and season 2, but you know, now guys are just running up on people, throwing knees like this Abraham Lincoln ass dude over here. And what I recommend against somebody who's leading with the rear knee a lot would be the straight lead uppercut. Reason why I recommend the straight lead uppercut is because if they're doing the knee elbow combination, if you try to lead with a hook, the elbow is designed to beat the hook at close range. So the smarter option to interrupt them as they're throwing the knee is the straight strike, followed up by the uppercut, which beats the elbow. So you got a guy who's a little bit of a spastic, you know, just running up on you with the knees and whatnot. Straight lead uppercut. You can also follow it up with a straight lead uppercut rear hook. But once you see that animation of his leg coming up, plant. It's very important that you plant and you throw that straight lead uppercut. If you come forward as you're throwing it, you're very likely to eat extra damage. But if you plant your shot, if you plant your strikes to stop the knee, you have a much better chance of interrupting him and getting a health event like I got there. It's really about timing and not panicking. A lot of guys, like, once a guy throws a knee, they're like, oh my god, this guy's spamming knees already, or whatever. But it's really more so a game of patience. So again, Zabit's gonna load up a knee, and you see that animation where he's bringing up that rear foot. The moment I see him raise his foot is when I want to time my straight. Lead knees aren't really done too much in ranked, because they have a slower startup time than the rear knee. So this is generally what you're going to see, and that's what the straight lead uppercut is going to work against. If not that, you can try to plant jab uppercut hook if you can beat it, but again, I feel more comfortable with the straight lead uppercut because the straight has stopping power, and if you land it just right, you can get a knockdown very easily. Now, on to the next clip. Now, on the off chance you fight somebody who's throwing the lead knee, coming forward with the lead knee, you just have to lunge to the outside where his back leg is. This also applies with the rear knee. If you want to lunge the rear knee, you want to lunge to where the lead leg is. You want to lunge to the outside of that leg. But you see here's the beats leading with the lead knee. I got to make sure not to lunge to that side because sometimes it can hit me for some reason. I guess it's a bug in the game. But if somebody's starting up with that lead knee, you want to lunge to the outside leg. You want to lunge to that open side right there. Because if they start changing it up and they start going with that lead knee side, it's very, very annoying. So once I see him take that step forward and he's going on knee happy, lunge to the outside, to that rear leg side. Understood? Try it out. Get adjusted to it in practice mode. And figure out your timing to when you see that startup animation so you can lunge and safely get out of the way. God, I can't believe this is still an issue. Alright, on to the next one. This is catching the knee. This is something that they implemented way early on to kind of discourage people from throwing knees. This is simply done by, if you're holding R2, you see that knee come up, just press L2. If you time it correctly, you'll catch the knee. And what I would recommend, if you have somebody who's like Zabit, who's pretty annoying on the ground, I'll just press X, take them down, and affect their long-term stamina. Again, they're firing off those knees. If you're holding high block, all you simply have to do to trigger the low block to catch it is L2. As that knee is coming up and you time L2 to catch it, you have 3 options. You can strike, you can take them down if you feel that you're the better grappler than this player, or if it's somebody who has rubber guard like Zabit, or people in general that have really good bottom game stats and have real good submissions that you don't want to deal with, like Tony Ferguson, for example, the best option, if you know they might block the strike, is to go with X. X or circle. Reason being, it affects the long-term stamina of your opponent. So the more you keep catching these knees and just taking him down, affecting his long-term stamina, and giving him body damage by just catching the knees and taking him down that way instead of doing a regular takedown with L2, believe me, he's gonna regret it as the round progresses. So we're gonna show it again right here. The knee's coming up. I press L2 as I see it come up, and I catch the knee. I believe the window is depending on what level the guy's knee is at. I don't know what level Zabit's knee is at, but again, go into practice mode, figure out the timing, recognize the animation so you're not caught off guard. And you know, you get a dude who's knee happy, especially dudes who's Zabit, Ortega, Aldo, and whatnot. Catch the knee, press X, take him down, and kill that long-term stamina, as you can see right there, and give him some body damage to worry about. Alright, on to the next clip. Now right here, this was the new thing. So they implemented not being able to catch the side kick, which I'm okay with, I guess. You know, so for side kicks, usually the faster one is the one with the lead leg. So what you want to do is, you could lunge to the open side. But I prefer to lunge to the outside of the lead leg. Sometimes it might convert to a knee if they're too close, but the safer option is to lunge to the outside of that lead leg rather than to the rear leg side. Hey, if it converts to a knee and I dodge it that way, that works too. Lunge to the outside. Hit me but did no damage, which is cool. Lunge to the outside. Especially if characters like Zabit that have those Taekwondo perks, you really want to avoid the side kicks, especially if somebody has the Butcher or they have Taekwondo, because a spin usually comes right after it. But if you avoid the first strike, the second strike won't track you. Again, with side kicks, you want to lunge to the outside. If you're doing major lunges, lunge to the outside. I'm going to show in a slow motion over here. As you see him pick up that foot, you know, the rear leg is the tell. That rear leg moves. Watch right here. He steps forward. The rear leg replaces where the lead leg is, kind of like in real life. And he brings up that lead foot to hit you with the side kick. That is your moment of opportunity to lunge. It's very telegraphed. And you can simply lunge it right there. And there's always going to be some slight issues with lunging, tracking, and whatnot, but I'm sure they're going to get that fixed. But again, I think Vera converted to a knee because he was too close, but I still was able to avoid it. Once you figure out your opponent's timing on these side kicks, lunge. Now what I will say is, a smart player will catch on to you lunging, and what they'll do is, if you get too lunge happy, they'll throw a body kick and hope that you lunge into that body kick. So what I suggest is, focus on, if you see the side kick animation, lunge it. If they push you against the cage, don't lunge yet. See what they're going to do. If they're going to throw a body kick when you get to the cage expecting you to lunge, your goal should be either to A, catch it, or B, block the strike so you can land a free hook. One more time. Also, if you manage to successfully block that body kick, you get, I believe, almost full grapple advantage, and you can get a pretty good double leg off of it. You know, you block that body kick if they're anticipating your lunge. So this is very much based on timing and how much you know your opponent and what they're gonna do. Again, if they're simply spamming the side kicks and that's all they know how to do, they're gonna get frustrated. I had to do rage quit on ranked because he couldn't understand how I kept dodging his side kicks. It was great. But again, you want to lunge to the outside of his lead foot. You can major lunge to the inside, but I prefer when it comes to side kicks to go to the outside. To next clip. This is this is funny, considering I hate these things so much. Now, when you get somebody who's sidestepping, an alternative method is to use the left stick to throw a sidestep and then fire off a free hook. He cannot block if you sidestep successfully and you fire off a lead hook. You can fire off a rear hook as well, but I prefer the lead hook since it's a little bit faster and I can combo it. Again, all I simply do is I give a light flick on the left stick to get that little matrix sidestep, and you simply avoid the side kick that way. This is really effective, especially against guys who are spamming that. Also works against the oblique kick as well. Yeah, I'm going to show you right here in slow motion. Comes forward. See that little sidestep right there? Also killed his little bit of his long-term stamina. The more predictable the dude is for you, the better, because he simply cannot block. There, mistimed it. It's all good. But again, he picks up that leg, sidestep to the side. As that leg is coming back, you have the opportunity to land that free hook. It's in your face. He wants to keep pushing you against the cage. I simply just sidestep, shuffle to that side. It's coming forward again. Goes for that side kick. Fire off that lead hook. And you notice that these little side steps, they take away a lot from his long-term stamina, which is really the end game. When somebody's overdoing something, you want to kill their stamina. Now, what I recommend in terms of counter-striking, you don't want to counter right away. You just want to pick up on the pattern first and then counter. You don't want to counter the instant you get it, because you don't know. You simply don't know. Now, with side kicks, you have the major lunges, and you have these little side steps to deal with them. Both good tools to deal with somebody who's horribly spamming these in your face. But yeah, the more predictable your opponent is with the side steps, the easier it is for you. Now me, I'm fancy, so if somebody's getting a little bit too trigger happy with the little side kicks and they're killing their stamina, I just hit them with a Superman punch, and night-night. Now, this is the real spam right here. It was the beat. Lead body kick into a spin. To avoid this, it's very simple. Whether you get hit by that lead body kick or not, you can still lunge to that rear leg side. Wherever his rear leg is where you want to lunge to. Because 90% of the time when you're fighting Zabit, there's going to be a spin right after. Which is why I do not recommend you trying to shoot. You could very well try to shoot a takedown, but it's not recommended because that's a side kick and it will hurt. So you want to lunge to the outside. Anytime a Zabit starts with a lead body kick and you know they're gonna spin, lunge to the outside and it kills your stamina. Whether it lands or not, you can still lunge it. This is the key thing here. Even if the lead body kick lands, you can still lunge a spin and do crazy work on their stamina. Now you're probably wondering, now what if they're doing the body kick? It's fine. Same concept applies. Whether it's gonna be the body spin kick or it's gonna be the spin kick to the head. You lunge to where his rear leg is, and you're going to avoid the strike. Here it is in slow motion again. Go lead body kick. He lands it. I'm not worried. Right here, lunge to the outside, and it does a number on his stamina. It's a taxing move, especially because he has that taekwondo perk. Goes to the lead body kick. He lands it. Don't panic. If you know the spin's coming, lunge to the outside. This is one of the most stressful things with dealing with Zabit, so practice this a lot. Now, this is the spinning, what I call spinning top Ferguson. You get one of these dudes in rank, and it's the most annoying thing in the world. Dude is coming at you with spinning elbows. He's turned into Beyblade. He's just, oh my god, this is the most disgusting thing in the world. Jesus Christ. But I'm going to show you guys how to deal with this. Now, here's the thing. You could lunge that spinning elbow. You could lunge it by lunging to the rear leg side, but that's very, very risky, especially with things like lag and whatnot. So, if your opponent has a pattern of going spinning elbow, going with the 6 to 12 elbow, what comes out afterwards is generally the spin. So, you can duck it. You can duck it. You can duck the spinning elbow spin. Ferguson is also a lot taller than most guys. So if you're fighting against a taller fighter that has a spin, you want to duck it. If they're a shorter fighter for some reason, you want to back lunge it. If they're going spinning elbow and then 6 to 12 elbow, you can back lunge that 6 to 12 elbow. But it has to be major. Has to be the major back lunge. If you try to minor back lunge it, you're going to get smacked in the face and you're going to be very angry. So again, successfully block that first strike, which is... Honestly, I wouldn't try to sway the first strike. You always want to block, get a read on what your opponent is doing, and then sway the second strike just to do a number on her stamina, on their stamina. Oh god, I hate these dudes. But right there, yeah, major back lunge. Do not minor. Major back lunge. If it's the regular spinning elbow, you want to duck it. If they're going 6 to 12, you want to back lunge it. Now here, last one for now. Jab push kick. You know, a lot of guys have to go jab push kick, get you to the cage. And what you want to do here, now it's very risky lunging to the outside. For some reason, sometimes it tracks you. So what I realized is that after, playing around with it for a little bit, I started lunging to the lead leg side, and it's much better. Much easier to avoid that jab push kick. So until they get that fixed for the rear leg side, I would say if your opponent's very predictable with this jab push kick, all you have to do is lunge to the lead leg side. Again, jab. And there's not a lot that, I think the jab is the only move that can really get comboed with this. And again, you see there's an issue right there with the tracking. I try to go to the side that really you should be allowed to go to, I guess. But because of that issue, I would say go to the lead leg side. You want to lunge to the lead leg side, and you're going to cut that angle there. If you don't, you can block while lunging, but if you choose not to block while lunging, you have the opportunity to land a straight at that specific angle right there and get that side vulnerability. And if you time it correctly, you can drop them and you can rock them. But again, you got a guy who's doing the jab push kick a lot. You want to lunge to that lead leg side. You don't want to lunge to the rear leg side because as I showed you, there's some issues with the tracking and it can hit you. So you want to go, if they're going jab push kick, it's always going to be with the rear leg side, and so therefore you want to lunge to that lead leg side. Have it in slow-mo so you guys can play back and watch it to your heart's content. And boom, there you go. So that pretty much sums everything up with regards to defending certain cheese, like the knees, like the spinning elbow, like the jab push kick, the side kick. Now again, these are tools in the game that's supposed to help you. You want to create space, you want to have a guy off your face and whatnot, and I don't mind. But a lot of times people, when they see there's an opportunity to overuse something and just make it an ugly, brutal time for other players, people need help with dealing with these set actions. So again, when it comes to knees, you can lunge the knees, lunge to the opposite side. As I shown you in the earlier clip, you can also start off with that straight lead uppercut. When it comes to side kicks, you can lunge it, or you can use the little minor lunges, like the little side steps with the left stick. When it comes to Zabit spin, you want to lunge to the rear leg side. When it comes to Ferguson and the spinning elbows of death, you generally want to duck those spinning elbows. If he's leading with the 6 of 12, you want to block the first strike and either major back lunge or spinning back elbow. Or if it's the exact reverse, you can major back lunge the 6 of 12 elbow. Now, what I'm thinking as a next video, I'm thinking we can probably go with a lunge tutorial. Because I really do like the use of lunges. They open up a lot of things and they make guys think twice about doing certain strikes on you. Like right there, he went for a jab straight, I lunge to the outside. I definitely still feel like there's some issues with regards to lunging that need to be fixed. Like, whoo, clean. Oh my god. But yeah, sometimes if you lunge to another side of the straight, for some reason it still tracks you. So I'm gonna really get intricate on those finer details so you guys don't get hurt when you guys are trying out your lunges. But just let me know in the comment section if you want anything else for me to go over. And yeah, that pretty much sums everything up. So, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. I'm out of here. Adios.